In Form 3 generation printers, the resin cartridge sits on the cartridge floor, which contains a resin cartridge spring and dispense arm for dispensing resin. If the cartridge floor is malfunctioning or broken, the printer may fail to dispense resin properly or be prone to resin spills. Using this guide, you will be able to replace the Form 3 cartridge floor. If this video helps you solve your printer's issue, please like the video, and thanks for watching. To start, we will prepare the Form 3 and a dust-free workspace for replacing the cartridge floor. First, remove the build platform to avoid dripping resin into the printer cavity. Next, remove the resin cartridge and close the vent cap to prevent resin from dripping off of the bite valve and into the printer. Remove the resin tank, place it in the resin tank case, and cover it with its lid. Set the case and tank aside. Clear a workspace around your printer. Ensure that the workspace is well ventilated and free of dust. Disconnect the power cable from the printer before continuing with maintenance. Do not perform maintenance on the printer while it is connected to power. Wait 5 minutes after disconnecting the printer from power before proceeding. We will now work on removing the rear shell of the printer to gain access to the resin cartridge floor. First, open the printer cover. There is one screw on each side of the Z tower holding the rear shell in place. Depending on the age of your printer, they may be 2mm hex screws or T10 Torx screws. Use the appropriate driver to loosen and remove the 2 screws on the side of the Z tower. Rotate the printer to access the rear shell. Use a 3mm hex driver to loosen and remove the 2 screws on the back of the printer near the power and data ports. Now, gently flex the sides of the rear shell outward to unclip it from the printer frame. Pull the rear shell directly away from the printer to remove it. Set the rear shell aside. Locate but do not remove the 2 nuts retained in the lower shell that previously secured the external rear shell screws. Ensure that they did not come loose while removing the rear shell. However, if you find one of the nuts has fallen out, locate it and return it to the correct slot. We will now start working on unscrewing, unplugging, and removing the cartridge floor. Using the 2mm hex driver, unscrew the 2 screws securing the cartridge floor to the printer frame. Set the screws aside. Locate the cartridge floor cable. Inspect the cartridge floor cables to see if there are any zip ties securing the cables to the printer frame or other cables. If so, carefully cut the zip tie to release the cable. Hold the connector by the plastic housing and disconnect the cable from the printer's motherboard. Do not pull on the individual wires. Carefully lift the cartridge floor above its mounting points and away from the printer. Set it aside. Clean the cartridge floor of any liquid resin before disposal. Now we will install the new cartridge floor. Slide the cartridge floor into the space directly above its mounting points. Lower the cartridge floor into place so that the screw holes in the face of the cartridge floor are aligned with the screw holes in the printer frame. Plug the cartridge floor cable into the printer's motherboard. The cable will only enter the connector in the correct orientation. Be careful to not bend the pins in the connector. Do not pull on the individual wires. Depending on your printer's age, there may be a plastic divider to organize the cables. If your printer has this, route the cartridge floor cable through the gap in the divider before plugging it in. Insert the 2 cartridge floor screws into their respective holes in the cartridge floor. Tighten the screws with the 2mm hex driver until finger tight. After you finish performing any other maintenance procedure your printer requires, we can now reinstall and secure the rear shell. Place the rear shell back onto the printer. Press it towards the front of the printer to ensure it fully seats in place. There should be no gaps between the rear shell and the side or bottom shells. Using a 3mm hex driver, screw the 2 3mm hex screws into the rear of the printer. Then, open the printer cover and using a 2mm hex driver or a T10 Torx driver depending on the type of screws in your printer, screw the 2 Z-tower screws into the sides of the Z-tower. We are now almost at the end of our repair. After installing the new cartridge floor, we will now power on the printer and perform final checks. First, close the printer cover and connect the power cable to the printer and the power supply. The printer should now initialize. Insert a resin cartridge into the printer and check that the printer detects it properly. To fully ensure that your printer is repaired, insert a resin tank and build platform, then start a print and check that the printer dispenses resin properly. Did this video help you get printing again? If so, please leave a like on our video and subscribe for more content. What video do you want to see next? Leave a comment telling us more.